So we're in Hannibal, Missouri, and we came out here because our friend Jeremy Koerber, he invited us to come out and go small game hunting and fishing with him this summer. We met up with Jeremy and we just kind of helped him out on his land a little bit, and it's so cool because we've heard him talk about like all the different things that he does with the land, but it was really cool to just kind of be there. And he's doing some of the typical stuff, you know, like putting up tree stands and making sure those are secure, but then also they're like putting different wire and things around these persimmon trees, and he's pointing out the different plants and how all the clover's coming in, and like mineral licks and stuff like that. And it's really impressive what they've done to that land to make it just hospitable to the animals that they want to be there.
Right.
It's really cool.
You know, last week when you were up on the farm and you were helping us wrap those trees, you know, ultimately those trees will, you know, they're persimmon and oak trees. So in time, that will be feeding the wildlife, all kinds of wildlife. Yeah. But the amount of work, and you know, we walked and talked for a long while up there about the things we've done. What we have done on that 40 acres far surpasses the 4 animals, or you know, that we'll take off of that, and it's going to benefit the entire herd. And you know, and that's a main principle of conservation. You know, it's not far one way or far the other direction. You know, it's not anti-hunting, but it's not take every animal that you see off there. It's a conservation, middle of the ground approach.
To say we helped out is a bit of an overstatement. I mean, mostly we followed them around and hung out. We tried to pitch in where we could.
I think we provided some fun entertainment because we
did.
Got out our shotgun.
We got to bust out a brand new shotgun that has never fired a shot before, and we got out some clays and a thrower, and you know, none of us are really good at shooting that shotgun. I think Jeremy's kids were better than all the adults there. You know, we just took a few shots of clays, and man, was that fun.
Hey, Jack.
Satisfying. When you finally hit one, it's like nothing else. Screw fireworks, man. Like, fireworks are no fun. Take some clays out and go make them explode in the air. Because of your skill, it was really, really cool.
Oh!
Right.
I didn't think I was gonna hit any of them today.
How much fun is that when that thing explodes?
We were getting some stuff to come up here today, and we walked through the aisle, and I'm like, ooh, there's a thrower and some clay pigeons, and I'm like, not going to get them today, but next time we head to the farm, I think we're going to have to bust a few. So.
Yeah.
I went out on my first squirrel hunt, and it was really just like my first foray into taking responsibility on that level, because I've done the hunts with you, and the fact that I've been there, I've done deciding where to go and like kind of figuring out where the animals are and a lot of the prep and stuff like that, and just being in it with you. But really taking responsibility for pulling the trigger was like a new experience.
Andrea really wanted to get some experience on just hunting anything before we're out there with the bows looking for whitetail. And I think that was something we learned after my first trip, because the first thing I ever went out to hunt was whitetails with a bow, and it was a super intimidating experience. But then after we had done some small game hunting, I felt like I had really learned a lot of those lessons and feel more confident going back out there. And so she's been looking for a time where we could just come out and hunt some squirrels to get, you know, some of those skill baskets filled up, so that by the time you're out there doing something really challenging with the bow, you know, she'd have a bit of a leg up on that.
Every time you're in the woods and you're traversing the topography and you're learning how to stalk or be quiet or walk, that sounds crazy. Small game is a great way to hone those skills and just get used to being in the woods. If nothing else, just being with them, watching the behaviors of the various animals, watching the woods wake up. I've been doing this a long time, and I still learn things about wildlife or wild game or hunting or just being out there every single trip.
You've got this coral berry, which is that's what a lot of this taller stuff is. You're just going to try to find you a spot that you can see, and I'll show you a couple of really good spots up here on this ridge.
So we got out there nice and early, but you know, the last time we had gone squirrel hunting with Andrew in Wisconsin, it was fall and there were no leaves on the trees. And here it is so dense, and so we would hear them everywhere. We couldn't find them. And so it took us a while to figure out kind of how to locate them. But then once we did, it really just everything started happening. We found this group of squirrels first, and they were all just kind of chasing each other around, and it was really difficult to get one of them still enough. And I finally found one that was just kind of frozen on a tree. And I remembered what you had said about the raccoon hunt, where you had to focus everything in your mind and your whole body into this shot. And so I put the crosshairs on the squirrel's head, and I really did that. I focused really hard on that, and it was like a perfect shot, basically right through his ear. The adrenaline of that moment was insane.
Right. I was holding my breath for you after that first one, because having had bad experiences, I really wanted your first one to be good.
Yeah.
And so when you went up and were looking for it, I was really just, God, I was just like, please,
Yeah.
let her just find it on the ground. It was a good shot. It's dead. It's good to go. And she can feel good about it. And luckily, that's exactly what happened. It was a perfect shot.
Yeah, you did so good. Dude, right in the ear. I know.
Nothing in nature has a good death. It's not like, you you go to an old folks home for squirrels and they pass peacefully in their sleep. It's ugly, it's violent, because when they can't if they can't escape a predator anymore, then they become the meal.
Yeah.
And that's what I always try to explain, is that as a hunter, my job is to make that kill as quickly and as humanely as I possibly can, because coyote packs that jump on a fawn, let me tell you what, it's not an easy way to go.
Yeah.
I took a shot at another squirrel. It honestly looked like a perfect shot. I mean, he fell right straight out of the tree.
Yeah.
But then we were looking for him, couldn't find him for a bit, and sure enough, we see him just scamper up a tree right into a hole.
Yeah.
Just like, damn.
Yeah. He was laying there out, totally stunned, and we definitely thought it was perfect. And who knows what happened on that one.
Yeah, it sucks. Was not happy about that. Felt really bad about it. And I don't know. I'm still glad that I learned that lesson in that capacity, though, because like I did end up shooting a third squirrel, and that was another perfect headshot that he was just out immediately. But that helped me kind of see what I had done differently on that second one, and I really didn't do that one thing of just making sure I focused everything in my whole mind and body on that shot. I thought I had, but when you compare it to the other two shots, I really hadn't.
Yeah.
And so I just feel really glad that I learned that lesson now, because I mean, the main reason I wanted to go out and do squirrel hunting now is because I didn't want to go into this bow hunt this fall hunting deer and not have any experience under my belt.
So you field dressed the two of them, and then we took the meat on home.
Got him home.
Got
Yeah.
ourselves cleaned up and pulled all of the ticks off of us, all the Missouri ticks.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how many ticks there are out here in the woods in
I
Missouri.
had so many on me.
But that's only half of the Missouri story.
It is, yes.
We've got Jack and Justin, all three J's here with us today. They were catching fish with us too.
He's got another one.
He's got another good
He's
one.
got another one down there.
Man, they weren't biting for us, you and me, for
Same
20
spot.
minutes down there. Same spot. So Jeremy took us out to get some crappie on a little lake that a friend of his owns, and it was just fantastic. It was really nice of the guy to let us go there. There we go. We bought ourselves a rod and a reel. You know, it's not all that expensive to get that. Just a little setup going.
I thought it was going to be way
jigs.
more expensive.
Yep. And went out and caught, I want to say about a dozen
Yep.
that were keepers. And it was probably like 10 crappie, and maybe we kept 2 bluegill or something. And it was just a lot of fun. I didn't expect it to be that much fun, honestly. I haven't been fishing since probably high school, but I used to go all the time. I mean, I grew up across from a lake and then with a pond, you know, basically my backyard. But we only used to ever catch and release. I've never kept. And so this was really fun. It gave a new motivation, because when you got one that was big enough, that actually meant something.
Yeah.
It really was like, oh, I can take this one home. Dang. Let's see him. Nice. What do you think?
But what?
Do you like him?
Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't want to name him. We're gonna eat him.
You've got me back into fishing now. You know, I grew up doing it, but it was all catch and release.
Right.
And it's a different feeling when you hold one up and you're like, wow, that's big enough. I'm gonna put that in the cooler and we're gonna take it home.
Yep.
And that's far more exciting to me. I've been excited today. You guys had to drag me up out of here to do this podcast because I'll go all day out there, you know.
This is cool because you know, when you sit down tonight, you're gonna remember maybe things we talked about today, or just the day in general, or watching the kids run around and get excited because, you know, what about that bass that Jack caught?
Oh man, that was a monster.
Yeah.
Jack caught a giant bass at one point. It was fantastic. That's what he was working on today.
He's
building some skills. We caught a bunch, just had a great day, but then we came home and we ended up scaling and keeping the skin on most of them, so we just have some skin on fillets that we've got in the freezer and we're ready to eat whenever we feel like it now.
Yeah.
You know, you've taken a couple squirrels. Today, you've got, 9, 10, 12 crappie in the cooler. You're going to be eating well, and the way I look at it, if you get a deer, yeah, it's a lot of protein in the freezer. But if you do what you're doing today, you go out and you've got at least 2 meals in that cooler sitting over there right now.
Yep.
You know.
I think if I can reach people who are nervous to get started as adults, I'd feel good about that because, we started all this and it was all consuming for a little while because it has to be, but now it's settling into a really good place where we know what we want to do and when we're going to do it. It doesn't have to be my whole life, but I can have a passion for this. But now we've got to experience so many of the different pieces of hunting and now fishing, and I'm hooked, man.
Good.
I'm into it.
Good.
I really was watching you hunt and just really feel like I'm gonna like this hunting thing, but I didn't have anything to back that up because I hadn't actually done it yet. And I feel really great about it, and I'm really glad that I did get to go do it because I am really into it.